know you're crazy, but I only wanna be with you. You think I'm shady cause I'm out here trying to make some moves, but it ain't like that. Just know that I'll be right back. I'll give you all my time just to let you know you're mine. It ain't nothing. Promise I'ma do it all to give you something. This love I got is only for you. You're my comfort, my future husband. I'ma give you all my heart, yeah, all of it, yeah. Baby, I know that I gotta come fix it. You the only nigga that I be missing. Swear I'm coming home to give you the business. Turn off my phone, it can leave me a message. I'ma just cover your body with kisses, kisses. Rub your body down, you know that I miss it, miss it.
Today is a special day for me. I have someone special on here with me. None other than the love of my life. I don't know, you know, call her LB. You know, she might not want her whole info, you know what I'm saying, out there, but we just gonna say, you know, babe, how you doing today, boo?
I'm doing good, baby. How you doing?
I'm good. So first I'm gonna start off, you know, like I always do, boo. I want to check on you and, you know, see how your mental health is doing. So how is your mental health doing today?
Well, first, I want to shout you out and say that I absolutely love what you're doing with your podcast. I'm praying every day for a constant growth just within your podcast. So I'm so proud of you. I just had to say that. But I am doing good. I'm doing good. Just trying to pray more, you know, really focus on my spirituality and getting closer to God.
Yes. And thank you, baby. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. You know, they say behind every successful man is a even stronger woman. You know what I mean? And you are the epitome of that. So, you know, thank you for everything, you know, you do for me. So this episode that we're having today, you know, me and you always talk about relationships, and we always talk about certain things that we see, whether it be friends, family, certain things that we may hear from people in reference to relationships. So I came to you and I said, babe, let's talk about commitment.
Yes.
Right. And so first and foremost, how do you feel, you know, was commitment ever a problem for you growing up? And you know, because I know for men, it's a lot harder for some reason. I know I'm a different person. I'm a different breed when it comes to that. But can you just speak on, you know, your experience with commitment?
Absolutely. Commitment is it's interesting because I grew up with a single parent. So I did have an idea of what marriage and like relationships were. But it's interesting because I actually gravitated towards commitment, even though I didn't see a whole bunch of it just within my household. So anytime I got into a relationship, it was funny because I was like a long-term dater from like age 10, 12, whoever I dated, I was like with them for an extended period of time until, you know, maybe something happened. So I've always been dating with an intention, as I call it.
I feel like it's been the same with me because I've never wanted to just be with somebody just to be with them. I always wanted to eventually, in my mind as a kid, it was like, if you get in a relationship, your goal is to always get married someday, which we are getting married in September, you know. Thank you, God. Yeah. But so I've always, you know, dated with an intention as well. And then, you know, we don't necessarily know if, you know what I mean, like the person that we at the time we're dating is the person that we're going to marry. That's just what we striving for. Like we want to get married someday. But nowadays it's different. And that's what, you know, that's what I really kind of wanted to talk about because, you know, a lot of people will be in a relationship and, you know, not necessarily, or not be in a relationship. I'll say they'll be with someone, whatever their situation is, they'll just be in that situation and, you know, not necessarily have a title. And a lot of women are okay with that. Why do you why do you think that that is?
Oh, that's a deep question. I think there's multiple answers to that question because as a woman, I know just from past experience, you always see more in people. So, in particular, when you're in a relationship, you're like, okay, well, maybe it's not happening right now. It could potentially happen in the future. You know, this is just a phase. You know, we'll get past this. Eventually, this will happen. So, it's kind of just that whole, I can fix things type of mindset. And I think, too, sometimes people aren't communicating about what they really want. So people aren't really saying like I want to get married in whatever time frame. And see, that's the other thing because then some people are like, well, I went out on a date with her and she's talking about I got 2 years, so now it's like a stigma on you that you're demanding or, however men describe it.
Hmm.
Just because you're sitting down and saying what your standards are,
Right.
so I think it all comes back to like standards, really.
Right. And then, you know, I know the fellas might be mad at me about this, but I feel like I have to keep it real. Like a lot of times we're okay with, just messing around with a female and there's no title because we feel free. You know what I mean? If we do that, that means, yeah, me and you got our thing going on, but I can go out here and do whatever I want. And technically, you can't say nothing because you're
Mhm.
not my girl. You know what I
Right.
mean? In the end, it's really messed up. But in the end, the person that suffers, of course, is the woman. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Because I don't really recall. I'm trying to think. I don't think that um any women have had like I don't think I've heard any women that actually do something like that to men. Like mess around with them, but not necessarily have a title and be okay with it.
I know a
Now
few.
there are some side chicks.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? Um, but I mean like a woman who has an intention. You know what I mean? To be with
Right.
a man. If a woman has an intention to really be with a man, they're being with them because hey, they really want to be with them to see where it goes. Most men, unfortunately, and not I won't say most. I'll say some. I won't put everyone out there on, but a lot of men they'll date just to see how something goes. And if we're kicking it every day and you giving me sex, I don't
Right.
necessarily have to, what I mean, like really do anything extra to, what I mean? Like if we're going out to eat, we're going to the movies and we're doing this, that, and the third, and there has been no conversation about what we are. I'm
Mhm.
telling when I introduce you to people, you are my friend.
Mhm.
Me
Yeah.
introducing you to when I introduce you to people and you are my friend, that means that technically when you go home and I go home, I can go do whatever I want. But the
Right.
but the difference is the man he don't expect you to do that.
Right.
Like
Right.
talk a little
Mhm.
bit about that, babe. Like how you feel about just the way that is like, and do you feel like a woman has to require a man to make that decision?
I do, and like you said, it goes back to the standards. When you're having a first conversation, like "Hi, my name is," like it's supposed to be a part of, maybe if you don't feel comfortable the first time, at least definitely by the second time, because when you have more interactions after that second time, you get more and more comfortable. So it's so important to do it like within those first couple interactions with someone because you want to be clear about what you want from that person. And I know it's kind of cliche. I was thinking while you were talking about Act Like a Lady, Think Like a Man, Steve Harvey. When that book came out, I read it cover to cover, not because I was like in search of anything, but just because I like to gain understanding on different topics and I wanted to hear what he had to say. And I know a lot of men were upset about that book just because they thought he was giving out some secrets. But honestly, he was really charging the women to set a standard. It's like if you don't want this, don't do this. And I'm not saying, of course, that it's all on a woman, but I'm saying he was basically saying that we have a lot of power. So we have a lot of power to say, this is what is for me. This is what I will accept. Anything less, I'm moving on. Because I feel like that is when the man feels like he can kind of do what you were describing, let's go to the movies, let's go out to eat, and then all right, I'm going home, you going home, that's it. And I introduced you as my friend because see, I was in that situation before. I introduced you as my friend, so why would you expect more?
Hmm.
So in that situation, I understand it more just because I went through it. But when I was in the situation, of course, I wasn't thinking like that, because that goes back to what I was saying about the whole fixing up someone. You think like eventually you'll get to that commitment. That's what I was doing, but it didn't lead to that. It ended up becoming years of me just tolerating and dealing with things instead of being true to myself. And that's why it's important too to fall in love with yourself first.
I agree. And another thing that I noticed too, like what women do, like women will date based off of the potential they think a guy has. Most women will, like, right, but like you said, you can't really change somebody that is not really, you know what I mean, that don't want to be changed. So a lot
Yeah,
of girls end up with um these stud guys or whatever for their sex, and then they think that maybe I can mold him into
absolutely.
a husband. But it's not, that's, it don't work like that, you know what I mean. I know when I was a kid, excuse me, I seen when it came to commitment, I don't think I had really had a um like a real a good example, because even though, my mom, she dated and she had a boyfriend that was, he probably was around 8 years maybe, but he cheated, you know what I mean. And you with somebody that long, there was no marriage involved, like there was no proposal. I think he tried to finally propose when my mom had enough. You know what I mean? Like when she was done with him, and then he came around and was trying to propose at that time, and she wasn't with it. We lived in the hood for that whole time. You know what I mean? And he was there, and
Hmm.
no proposal. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
So um, no proposal. My mom didn't get married until 2007. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
um, I'm already 24 when that happened.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and this guy was around, you know, when I was a kid, in and out. You know what I mean? So I just didn't have a good example. My example was television, the things I seen on TV. Like I told you before, like, you know,
Yeah.
I would see a commercial, white picket fence, um, a dog,
Yep.
kids playing outside, the husband on the grill, the wife
Hmm.
getting the kids and bringing them, to the table because the food's about to be ready soon. Like, I wanted that. So,
Yeah.
that's all that I really had to go off of. That, and of course, um, my grandmother and my grandfather, but,
Right.
trying to look at elder people's relationships is different too, because their relationship is not necessarily ideal, because their relationship is based off of another time that we weren't in. So it's kind of
Hmm.
hard for us to understand, looking at my grandmother and grandfather. Like, I know they love each other, but they just do things differently.
Right.
You know what I mean? What about you, babe? Did you have um like a good um example of commitment when you were, I know you were raised, of course, by your mom, in a single
Hmm.
parent home, but did you eventually, was there anyone you were able to look to and say, like, that's what commitment is supposed to be like?
Yeah, definitely. I would say that my aunt and uncle, I didn't live with them. they stayed with us for like a period of time, so I got to see them interact. And of course we would go over to their house, so I did get to see that dynamic. And I do kind of want to talk about how with my uncle, he kind of opened up my eyes to more about what men do in relationships or are capable of doing in relationships, because he's not like a traditional husband that will work a 9 to 5 and then just come home and expect his wife to do things like cooking and cleaning and washing dishes. Like, no, he will do it all. He's working a 9 to 5, he's washing clothes, he's, watching his grandchildren, he's helping his children, coaching their basketball teams, he's volunteering, he's cooking. And this man cooks every day. He's like 65 years old, and to this day, he still cooks every day, So he opened up my eyes more to, what you see traditionally, which is the woman, which is kind of old school when you think about it now. But the woman, cooking and cleaning, he opened up my eyes more to that as a kid. So I'm glad that I saw that, because that kind of gave me diversity, just when it came to marriages. So I saw them. And then, based on my home church, I saw people within the church that were married. So, but my immediate parents, they were married. I believe it was just because they were young. And back then my mom was raised by my great grandma, so my great grandma was like, look, y'all gonna get married, y'all gonna do it right, the right way, because they had just had me, I was 2. So that that's what happened there. And I think they're just very alpha. Mom's alpha, dad's alpha. So I think it was just too much, them being together. Just my personal opinion, they might tell you something different. But yeah, I think my mom had her childhood sweetheart, and they were married, it didn't work out. So there were a lot of inconsistencies. My dad did remarry, but you know at that point I was already older, so I guess my opinion of marriage and what I wanted was already formulated. But I did have at least a few good examples that I can think of and name that I'm definitely grateful for.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That's great to hear.
And will
So
be
what you say, baby?
and will be an example.
That's right. I think that's what that's I I kind of have something in me, because almost we know a lot of people that are married,
Mhm.
and everybody's not in the best space. You know what I mean? Relationship wise, whatever. And I want us to be the couple that changes that. You know what I mean? Like, I think everybody believes that once you get married, everyone's gonna like everyone's problems are gonna be the same. I don't believe that. You know what I mean? Me and you have a different type of relationship, and we operate a certain way, like in our household, and you know, God is really like the forefront of everything that we do. So,
Absolutely.
um, when you hear things like, oh, after you're married, after this amount of time, you may not like each other, or you may hate that person or whatever. Like, I don't believe that.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? That's not to say that we're gonna be perfect, because no relationship is perfect. But
Right.
one thing that I'm never afraid to do is to do the work, and
Mhm.
you neither. So, um, I kind of have this thing now with me. It's like, I want to be an example. I want, when people look at us and they say, Kevin and Trish been together for however long, like years, and they still got that same spark. Like, we've seen old couples that, you know, they can barely move, but he'd be like, "That's my baby."
Right.
Yeah, we've seen that. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, that's awesome. Like, they've, been together for 50 years. They may be in a nursing home, but
Still love.
when he still love, the love is still the same.
Absolutely.
And that's what, I want to strive to be. And, I can only do that, by, when I pray, asking God to continue to mold me into the man that he needs me to be, so that I can be a great husband, God willing, a great father, a great friend, a great brother,
Mhm.
a better son. You know what I mean? Like, I just want to be a better person all the way around. So when I pray for that. Um, and I believe that, that he's going to do that for me.
Mhm. It's just as you were talking, it just made me like think about why I fell in love with you. You know, it's just that. It's just, and gosh, I'm getting emotional. I don't want to get emotional,
It's okay, baby.
but it's just that you always have a willingness, you know. And when you think about people that have their own experience, I mean, everybody's going to have their own experience,
Right.
you know, not to anyone, because our vision for, you know, us as a couple is different, you know, other people's are different. So
Hmm.
no judgments to anyone, prayers for anyone going through
Right.
anything. But yeah, sidetracked. But yeah, that's a part of why I fell in love with you, just because you always have a willingness to grow, to learn, or if it's something that you don't know, you're just like, okay, well, I didn't realize that. You know, you always want to communicate, and I know sometimes I give you a hard time because I'm very like, okay, whatever. But I love that about you, because that's why I know that this is going to work, because um, you have opened up my eyes to being a better person through communicating. And I know that through God, through faith, and the communication, that will be our foundation. So,
That's right. I believe that too. Um, so yeah, we just wanted to come on here and just talk about commitment a little bit, and you know, um, what we see, what we may have been through, and just the different things. Like I said, women, you have to require your man to be better for you, and and for himself. Once he's better for himself, you know what I mean. He can only be better for you. You know what I mean. But he has to be willing to do the work to be a better man. And if he's somebody that don't you know don't really show interest in you, and does not want to um address you as such, as his woman, as his lady, then you might want to rethink your situation. That's just my final thought. What about you, babe? What's your final thought on that?
so you know me, like I'm all about self love. So I just feel like to just make sure it's best for you. You know, whatever you do, whatever journey you take in life, single or relationship, dating, married, anything, just don't lose you. You know, don't lose things about you that make you you, that make you unique, that make you happy. Because I know too, you know, even when we have kids, it's going to be a different dynamic for us as well, because it's just been us for so long. So that's going to be something I have to remind myself of. So I just want to charge everyone, men and women, just continue to do things that make you personally happy and make your partner happy. Listen to your partner, learn what their love language is. Gary Chapman is a book on it. We've been
Hmm.
reading it for our counseling sessions. But yeah, just discover what your love language is for yourself and for your, you know, relationship when and if you decide to embark in one. So I just love everyone, love you all, and I hope that you got something from
For
this podcast.
sure, for sure. And this won't be the only one that we do neither. And before we get off of here, um, babe, tell us a little bit about your business that you run, because that's very important as well.
Absolutely. Thank you for letting me talk about it a little bit.
For
So,
sure.
I help people reach their goal with their credit. So if you are looking to buy a home, car, want to refinance your home, any kind of financial goal that you want to reach with your credit included inside of that, I can help you get there. A lot of success stories, people seeing results within 30 days. So if you just want to improve your credit, financial freedom, generational wealth, or you're looking for another way to make some extra income for your family, extra income is always good. They say millionaires have 6 streams of income. So if you're looking for another stream of income, let me know. I'm on Facebook, Latricia Buck, and I'm on Instagram. I believe I'm under Latricia Angelique, and I'm on TikTok. Check me out, Dancing Credit Queen. I think you'll enjoy it.
That's awesome. All right. Well, once again, y'all, it's Happy Hour with Lito. This is our episode. We talked about commitment. We talked about a lot of different things. I hope y'all got something from this, and you will see us again.
Yes, love y'all.